Hi guys. I'm going to explain what how to understand and make sense of the balance sheet you will see in your quiz. Um, I'm going to explain what happens with the January column, and hopefully that will help you understand what happens with February and March. So, um, when you are trying to make sense of this, you might begin with in January, this is the amount of money you have at the beginning of the month, the starting cash balance. You have $3,403. And in general, we know that for balance sheets, you are going to keep track of both inflow or cash in received, and also you would keep track of expenses or expenditures. In this specific situation, in blue, you will see cash received, and that has two sources. This is the first one, operations, and this is the second one, additional cash received. And then you have expenditures, expenses. In this case, it also has two sources, expenses from operations and additional cash spent. At the end, what we have to do is pretty much you had 3,403 at the beginning. You add the total of these two and then subtract the total of these two. And at the end, you will have a balance at the end of the month. So that's what I'm going to try to explain in this month of January. So let's begin. We had 3,403 at the beginning, and now we need to add 1,200 and 5,670 from operations. Now, this is going to be the subtotal of, let me erase here. We're going to get this A is going to be the subtotal of this section only, okay? And you just have to do, use your calculator to try and get. So it's 1,200 plus 5,670 is 6,870. That's what A is. Now, that is the subtotal for cash from operations. Now, mm, cash received, that cash came from sales of current assets, and as you can see, this is the subtotal of this category only. Now, if you see, this 7,020 is the result of adding additional cash received and operations, which means that you do 6,870 plus 150. That's where the $7,020 come from. Okay? You can always pause the video, rewind it, and see if this is making sense. Okay? So far in January, at the beginning of the month, we had $3,403. And throughout the month, we received $7,020 in total. Now let's see how much money we spent. So let's begin with the first category, that's expenditures. I just want you to notice that if you have numbers in parentheses, that means that you are subtracting money. Okay, it means that negative numbers, or it means expenses. There's something in particular with this cash spending. Can you see that it's not in a parentheses? So this is going to be interesting because this is money I spent, this is money I spent, but this is somehow money I received. Okay, so the total money spent on operations is going to be this 3,500 plus 750, and then you subtract 123.50. Okay, let's see what happens. And I don't want you to um, get some conflicts with, but isn't it supposed that the numbers in parentheses are negative? How come that now you are subtracting the ones that were supposed to add and adding the ones that we're supposed to subtract. Right now, I'm just calculating the expenditures. So these numbers, 3,500 and 750, is money that eventually I'm going to subtract from the money that I already had. So this is money that I actually received. So I'm going to explain that in class, and if it's too confusing for you, just feel free to contact me for a further explanation. So what I'm going to do is to add 3,500 and 750 and subtract 123.5. So the subtotal spent on operations is 4,126 and 50 cents. Now let's take a look at the second category, additional cash. Here we spent this money, 350 and 150, and as you can see, we spent $500 on additional cash spent. Now the two of them should be this. Let me do this blue. You should do this category, 4,126 and 50, and you add this 500, and as you can see, you get 4,626 on cash spent. So now I have everything from the column. So how did I get this number, 5,796? Well, I need to begin with the original $3,403. Now I'm going to add how much money I received. It means 7,020. And then you subtract this amount, 4,626 and 50. And that's where you get the 5,796 and 50. This net cash flow comes from the cash received minus your cash spent. That's what we call cash flow, and this is going to be a common term we'll use throughout the year. Hopefully this video helped you. So hopefully this video helped you make sense of how to understand and make sense of each column, so you can now do February and March and complete your quiz. Thank you.